Hey church family, if you have not heard, we're planning on resuming our services here on our campus on Sunday, May 17th. That's this Sunday, May 17th. I got to thinking about how when we would gather together for worship back before the coronavirus came about, and we would pray at the beginning of the service. Oftentimes, either I would pray or one of our deacons or one of our pastors would pray, thanking God for allowing us to worship together. I'm guessing that prayer is going to have a lot more meaning to it when we gather together this Sunday, now that we've had 2 months of not being allowed to, not being able to physically meet in one place to worship. I have a feeling there's going to be some emotion, some excitement, some anticipation of the church gathering back together to worship. Now, before we do gather together for worship, I wanted to give us all a few suggestions, a few ideas so that we can make this safe, so that we can make this go as smoothly as possible. If you have not heard, we're having 2 morning services, 8:30 and 11, our normal times. It'll be the normal worship styles in those 2 services. We'll be meeting on Wednesday nights as well for a church-wide, family-wide worship gathering in the sanctuary too at 6:30. But here's some suggestions that our staff has come up with that I want to give us all to help us keep those in-person gatherings as safe as possible when we do return to campus. First of all, let's think about this. When we are entering into the building, we're going to do everything we can to prop open as many doors as possible to reduce the amount of touch points, to reduce the amount of places and ways that we could spread germs. Now, we're not going to be handing out bulletins at this time. We're going to wait a few weeks before we begin to hand out anything of that sort. Once again, just to reduce the number of things that might pass germs. But please help us out and try not to touch things you don't have to touch. I know there's going to be pew Bibles, there's going to be hymnals. So try to leave those things alone. Let's just try to reduce the number of things that we might need to be sanitized and clean. Also, that means don't touch one another. Let's not shake hands. Let's not hug. Let's make our standard greeting during this season of ministry simply be the wave. I know it seems so basic. I know we want to hug each other, we want to shake hands, we want to show our love, but let's simply wave at each other, let's simply talk at each other from a distance, and let's save the hugging for later whenever social distancing is a thing of the past. Now, once again, talking about social distancing, when you come into the sanctuary, please sit with your household as a group, and please leave about 3 seats in between you and the next household. Now, if you need an easy point of reference to know how far 3 seats are or how far 6 feet is, I'm about 6 feet 2 with a fresh haircut. Blake's about 6 feet 3 when he has a flat hair day. And so just imagine a Jeff length or a Blake length between you and the next family, and you'll be safe. And let me also say this, consider moving to the front of the sanctuary. It would help us if when people come into the room, if there are seats at the front, go ahead and move and sit toward the front. I know we want to social distance ourselves from the pulpit and we want to social distance ourselves from the front, but please help us out. Come to the front. That'll help us reduce the amount of space that's taken up in the back and leave that open as people continue to come into the room. Now, we will have a maximum seating capacity in the sanctuary of about 120 people. That's based on the governor's recommendations, based on the mayor of Shelby County's recommendations. And so we're going to look for about 120 people in that service. When our ushers begin to see that we're getting close to that number, that we're getting close to maximum capacity, they're going to begin to guide people down to the gym, to direct people to go to the gym, where we're going to have a live feed of the service set up in the gym. Please do not be offended if you get asked to go to the gym. It just means we don't have space in the sanctuary, and we want to make sure that we abide by the recommendations in social distancing. Now, when you go down to the gym, we're going to have a screen set up. We'll have the service playing on the screen. You will see the entirety of the service. It'll be the same music. It'll be the same message. You'll hear the same prayers, the same announcements, all those things. You'll be watching the entire service, but you will get to gather with other believers in one room and worship and praise the Lord. Now, if you're coming on Sunday and you really just want to spread out even more, you think 6 feet is not enough, you want 12 feet or 20 feet even, just go to the gym. You can put a chair wherever you want on the gym floor. You can space yourself out. You can still be in a room, once again, with other believers to worship. You can still experience worship together, but you can space out. So consider the gym. We've already asked 2 of our Sunday school classes to go to the gym for the 11 o'clock service, Scott Trout's class, and also Kenny Swan and Daryl Burnett's class that they teach together. We've asked them to go to that service to alleviate pressure in the sanctuary. And so there should be people down there, especially at 11, but just join us for worship in the gym if you need a little bit more space. And if you get asked to go to the gym, please don't get your feelings hurt. Now, when it comes to the offering time, once again, we're not passing bulletins. We're also not passing offering plates. We will have stands set up at the exit doors in the sanctuary and also in the gym with offering plates so that you can drop off your tithes and offerings on your way out the door or your way in, whichever one is most convenient for you. If you have kids, we will have childcare for children from birth all the way through kindergarten. Now, you do not have to put your kids in childcare. If you want to bring them into the service, you are more than welcome to do so. Whether that's the sanctuary or the gym, kids are always welcome. But if you want to utilize our childcare, it is available. You can come to the front of the children's building, go to the lobby, look for Brother John. John Proctor will get your kids signed in. He will get them ushered to the class. He will check them in. He will also then bring them back to you when we dismiss services at the front of the lobby. So just go there. John will take care of your kids from there. Now we're going to do everything we can to sanitize the building in between our services, in between the 8:30 service and 11 o'clock service, and then before the Wednesday night service comes around. We're going to have hand sanitizer at as many locations as possible, but you can help us out. If you have hand sanitizer that you can bring with you, ladies, put it in your purse to use for your own families, please do that. That will help save our church's supply for those who maybe don't have any. You know, just like with you, the church has a difficult time getting those things. We do have some, but we don't have a limitless supply. And so you can help us out by doing that. And lastly, let me just say this. If you are in any way anxious about returning into public, about coming to church because maybe you're afraid of catching something, maybe you're susceptible to illnesses, maybe you have a compromised immune system, whatever it might be, maybe you have small children, newborns, do not feel guilty. Play it safe. Take a few more weeks. Join us for worship on the live stream. This Sunday, May 17th, Lord willing, so we're praying the technology all works, but we're going to begin a live stream of our services. And so if you go to fisherville.org, there will be a picture on the page. I'm going to show it on the screen right now. Look for that picture. Click on that picture. It will take you to our live stream so that you can watch the service during the actual service time. So at 8:30, we'll broadcast the 8:30 service. At 11 o'clock, we'll broadcast the 11 o'clock service. You'll be able to see the entire service in your living room, on your phone, on your TV, however you choose to do that. It's on YouTube. You can access it through YouTube's apps on Roku, Apple TV, all those kind of things. And so do not feel guilty about that. I know many people have called, have asked and said, hey, I don't know what to do. I'm a little nervous. If at all you're in doubt, just play it safe. It's not an unspiritual decision in this day and age and in this time to say, you know what, I'm just going to wait another week. I'm going to wait another couple weeks to make sure that this virus doesn't begin to grow again. That's perfectly okay. It's not often you're going to get permission from your pastor to stay home, but this is one of those cases where that might simply be the wise thing to do. And so if you can join us on campus and you feel good about that, just come on. But if you can't, be sure to go online, worship with us online. Now, let me also say this. If you've had a fever in the past 48 hours or you've been around someone who has had a fever in the past 48 hours, please just stay home. Use common sense. If you feel like you're getting sick, just stay away. Help us to prevent the spread of any germs, whatever that might be, so that we can keep everyone safe. Last request, I will say this. Please continue to pray. Pray for our church as we make decisions about reopening. Pray for our city as our businesses and other churches, community places begin to reopen. Pray for our nation and our government leaders as they make these decisions, that we would make wise decisions, that we would not rush into things, but that we would make well-informed decisions. And pray that God would stem the spread of this virus so that His people can gather back together for worship. Looking forward to seeing you on Sunday, whether that's in person or whether that's online. Looking forward to worshiping together as the Lord's Church at First Baptist Fisherville. Goodbye.